Good day, everyone. As mentioned, we will continue the second part of our bank reconciliation. I will be sharing with you the sample problem for this bank reconciliation. And please remember that in bank reconciliation, only those book reconciling items require adjusting entry. Let us now proceed with the Excel file because it will be easier to perform bank reconciliation using Excel. Okay. So we have here our cash in bank per bank statement and per ledger. Okay, let's start with the per ledger. As mentioned, we have here the debit side and credit side. The debit represents our collections and our credit side represents disbursements through check. And then for our bank statement, we have here the details of our bank statement. We have the date, the check number, the withdrawal, and the deposits, as well as the balance. So compared with our per ledger, the balance will appear at the end of the period in which we get the total debits and then we get the total credits and the difference will be our ending balance. In bank statement, every time there is a transaction affecting our cash in bank account at BDO, since that is our example bank, will have a balance at the end of this statement. So daily, the amount changes depending on the transaction. Okay? In performing bank reconciliation, as mentioned, we have to compare the contents of our ledger and the contents of the bank statement. Those items which appear both in our bank statement and our per ledger are not the reconciling items. Okay? So therefore, the remaining items will be our reconciling items. So at this point, we will be comparing our collections if these collections also appeared in the deposit column of our bank statement. Otherwise, those items or those collections will be our reconciling item. Okay, so let's start with our December 100,000. So is this amount reflected in the bank statement? Okay, yes, it also reflected in our bank statement. So we'll have a color for this one. So all items or all figures with colors, that means they are not a reconciling item. Okay. Next, we have here 50,000. Is 50,000 reflected in the bank statement? Yes. December 21, it was reflected December 27. So we'll put a color here, 50,000. And how about 10,000? 27, 20, 10,000. Yes, it also shown or reflected in our per bank statement. How about 80,000? Is the amount also reflected in the bank statement? So I did not find any 80,000 here under the deposits column. So therefore, this will be our reconciling item. And let me make this font red, okay? So this means it is a reconciling item. What else? So under the deposits column, we have another amount, 30,000, which did not reflect in our per ledger. So therefore, this 30,000 is also our reconciling items. Okay? So let's proceed to the credit side of our cash in bank BDO, our per ledger. So we will compare if these disbursements through check appeared in the withdrawal portion of our bank statement. Otherwise, we'll consider that as our reconciling item. Okay, so we have here check number 101 amounting to 5,000. Do we have 101 in our withdrawal section or withdrawal column? Yes. So we'll color this one, 5,000. How about check number 102? 102. Do we have check 102 in our withdrawal column? And the check number in our per bank statement? So we do not have any check 102. So we'll consider it as our reconciling item. What else? We have check number 103. 103. Yes, we have here also in our bank statement. So we'll have a color for this amount. Okay. How about check number 104? Yes, 10,000. It also appeared per bank statement. 104. How about check number 105? Okay. So this check number 105 did not appear in our bank statement. Therefore, this is our reconciling item. Okay. Make it red font. How about check number 106, 25,000? Yes, we also have 25,000, check number 106 in our bank statement. So we will have a color for this one. Okay, lastly, we have 107, check number 107. So 50,000, do we have check number 107 in our withdrawal column? The amount is 50,000. Do we have check number 107 under the check number column of our bank statement? We don't have any. So therefore, this is also our reconciling item. Okay, so we are done. The credit side of our cash in bank, which represent the disbursements through check, we have three reconciling items because this three check amount did not appear in our bank statement. Okay, let's go back to our bank statement. Is there an amount reflected in our bank statement which did not reflect in our per ledger? Yes, there is because we have here 2,000 pesos. So therefore, our 2,000 pesos is our reconciling item. So all in all, how many reconciling items do we have? So we have two for our bank statement. Per bank statement, we have two reconciling items. And then per ledger, we have four reconciling items. And please take note of the additional information related to our bank reconciliation. It says here that the credit made by the bank on December 29 represents the proceeds of a note received from a customer which was given to the bank for collection by the entity on December 26. So on December 29, this 30,000 represents the collection made by the bank as payment of our customer. Okay, so with that, the entity gave an authority to the bank to collect the amount of 30,000 from the customer on their behalf. Okay. After we have identified the reconciling items, we can now prepare a bank reconciliation. But before we go directly to our bank reconciliation or this statement that will put into agreement our per bank balance and per ledger balance, let us first identify the three types of bank reconciliation. So we have here the adjusted balance method. So this adjusted balance method is the commonly used bank reconciliation, type of bank reconciliation, wherein we put into agreement our balance per bank and per book. That's why there is what we call adjusted book balance and adjusted bank balance. So another method in preparing our bank reconciliation is the book to bank method, wherein we adjust our book balance to come up with our bank balance. Okay, number three is the bank to book, wherein the bank balance is adjusted to come up with our book method. So in this case, for book to bank, our book balance here after getting the total debits and total credits, we have 65,000. And for our bank statement, our cash in bank is 108,000. So under book to bank method, we will adjust our 65,000 to come up with 108,000. So what are the reconciling items so that you can arrive at the bank balance of 108,000. Similarly, under bank to book, we start with bank balance 108,000. We will make adjustments to come up with the book balance of 65,000. But at this point, we will start with our preparation of bank reconciliation using the adjusted balance method. And since bank reconciliation is a statement, when we prepare this, statement, we should have a header to indicate what type of statement or report we are preparing. So since this is CDL Corporation, we will type here the name of the entity or the company and the name of the statement being prepared. This is bank reconciliation and the period. So since December, it's December 31, 2022. Okay, so we start with book balance. Again, in book balance, we will identify items to come up with our adjusted book balance. Okay, per ledger, our book balance is 65,000. Okay, question. What are the items that we will reflect in our book balance in our adjustment here? So what are the reconciling items? We have actually 6 reconciling items in our reconciliation here. Items which did not appear per ledger and items which did not appear per bank statement. Okay, so in book balance, what are the reconciling items that we will include? Okay, so for book balance, the reconciling items that we will include are those items in our bank statement, those with red fonts, meaning these items which did not reflect in our ledger but taken up by the BDO. Okay, so we have here the 30,000 and 2,000 amount. 2,000 amount. So our book balance, let's start. We have here 65,000 and then we will add the 30,000 which represent proceeds from a customer note, and that is 30,000. So why do we need to add these proceeds? Because these proceeds increased our cash in bank. So therefore, we also need to increase our ledger by the same amount. Ledger for cash in bank, BDO current account. Okay, so the total is 95,000 pesos. Okay, and then we will deduct the bank service charge amounting to 2,000. Again, why did we deduct bank charges from our total? Because this bank charges or decreased our cash in bank balance. Okay, so at this point, this is our adjusted book balance. Okay, so we have an adjusted book balance of 93,000. Okay, as mentioned, in terms of adjusting entries, only book reconciling items require adjusting entry. So this proceeds and bank service charge, we will prepare a corresponding adjusting entry. And since this 30,000 represents payment of our customer, then our adjusting entry is we debit cash in bank 30,000 and we will credit notes receivable, okay, by the same amount. Okay, and then you put a description, okay, to record collection of customers account. Okay, number 2 is related to bank service charge. So we have to debit appropriate expense account. Let's say bank service charge or other expenses. It depends what expense is used by the company or by the entity in recording bank service charges. 2,000 and credit cash in bank. 2,000. Okay, to record bank charges. Okay. Okay. Okay, what will be the date for this one? So since this is end of the period, so this is December 31, 2022. Okay, 12/31/20. Okay, so same. Okay, how about bank balance? Okay, for bank balance, we will just get the balance as reflected in our bank statement, the ending balance of 108,000. Okay, what will be the reconciling items of bank balance here? So the reconciling items are the items found in our per ledger, those with red fonts, meaning those items which did not reflect in our bank statement but reflected already in our per ledger cash in bank current account. Okay, so we have here bank balance 108,000. So which of these items should be added and or deducted? Okay, so we have here 80,000 deposit in transit. So since this is a collection of the entity and this was treated as an increase in cash in bank, an addition, so the bank balance should also take it up as an addition to the cash in bank balance. So we have here add deposit in transit 80,000. Okay. So the total is how much? 188,000. And then we will deduct outstanding checks. Why? Because per ledger, the entity deducted it from the cash in bank balance. So it's a decrease in the cash in bank balance. So therefore, the bank will also treat the outstanding checks as a deduction from cash in bank account. Okay. So less outstanding checks. So we have here the 15,000, 30,000, and 50,000. Okay. Let me type a check number 102. Next is 105 and 107. Okay, 105, 107. Okay, what is the total or subtotal of this outstanding checks? 95,000. Okay, let's check if the adjusted bank balance is also the same. Yes, it's the same. So we have adjusted bank balance of 93,000. Okay, let me double rule. Don't forget to do the double ruling of our account, final amount. Okay, so this is our bank reconciliation using the adjusted balance method. You will see that the adjusted book balance is the same as the adjusted bank balance. Don't get confused because even if there are reconciling items under our adjusted bank balance, this does not require any adjusting entry. Okay? Only items in our books, like the proceeds and bank service charge, will have an adjusting entry. Okay? Only this portion. Yeah. Okay. Okay, how about when you prepare a bank reconciliation book to bank? Okay. Okay, book to bank. Okay, let's start with book to bank. So we will copy the balance per book, which is how much? It's 65,000. So when you prepare the book to bank or bank to book, you will consider all the reconciling items. Okay. You only need to analyze whether those items should be added or deducted from the balance. So assuming that you are preparing book balance, book to bank. So you have to identify which of the 7 items or 6 items we identified should be added to our book balance and which of the 6 items should be deducted. Okay. So book balance, we have 65,000. And then what are the items that should be added? Okay. So we will add the outstanding checks. Why? Because per bank, these disbursements were not taken up yet as a deduction from our cash in bank. So we will just copy what they did in the bank statement. So since outstanding checks were not recognized as a deduction, so therefore the book balance will have an additional outstanding check, or the outstanding checks should be added back to book balance. By the way, I will not enumerate here the check number. In the interest of time, I will just type the total outstanding checks. Okay, so we have here 95,000. So what else? What item should be added per books aside from outstanding check? Okay, that's correct. We also add our proceeds from a customer, or proceeds of a customer note, and that is 30,000. So let me transfer this amount to make the presentation better. Okay. So the total addition to our book balance, we have 125,000. So what is the total here? We have 65,000 plus 125,000. So we have 190,000. Okay, what else? So as mentioned, all the reconciling items should appear in our adjusted in our book to bank method. Okay. So it just depends on your analysis whether those items will be added or deducted. That's why you have to analyze each item. Okay. So we have here less. What are the items that we will deduct from our total amount of 190,000? We've already taken up outstanding checks and proceeds of a customer note. What else? What are the items that we will deduct? First, we have the deposit in transit. Why? Since we are making adjustments to come up with the balance per bank, we have to deduct our deposit in transit because per bank, this items not yet included as part of the deposits. Okay, so we will deduct deposit in transit. Okay, what else? And we also deduct service charge. Why? Because this service charge was already deducted per bank statement, but not yet deducted in our book balance. So again, we will just adjust our book balance to come up with the bank balance. Okay. So the deposit in transit is how much? We have 80,000 pesos, and we have 2,000 service charge. So how much the total? Okay, we have 82,000. How much is the bank balance? So it's 108,000 our bank balance. Let's check. Yes, we have 108,000 bank balance. Okay. Once you have this book to bank, it will be easier for you to prepare the bank to book. Why? Because you will just reverse the sign. If it's addition, it will be a deduction. So if it's a deduction, it will be addition. So in this case, our outstanding checks, proceeds of a customer note under bank to book will be deducted. And then deposit in transit and service charge in our book to bank, it's deducted, but in our bank to book, it will be added. Okay, so let's have here an example. Okay, let's do this. So bank balance is 108,000. And then we will start with the additional items. So we will add deposit in transit and our service charge. So we have here, okay, let me adjust the amount. So we have here 80 and 2,000. Okay, total. Okay, and then we will deduct our outstanding checks. Okay, Let me copy this one. Less outstanding checks. 95 and 30,000. Okay. So how much is the book balance? Okay. Sorry. It's not yet added in 30,000. So we have to, okay. So we have our book balance of 65,000. Okay. So this is how we prepare bank reconciliation using the bank to book method. Okay. So let's have a recap of the three methods. The adjusted balance method is the commonly used method for bank reconciliation. Okay? In preparing bank reconciliation under the adjusted balance method, the balance per book, the adjusted book balance, and the adjusted bank balance should be equal. And what are the items or the reconciling items in our book balance? So we have the items appearing in our bank statement, which did not appear in our books. Okay? So in here, we have the proceeds and bank service charges, which appeared in our bank statement but did not appear in our per books. And then for bank balance, it's the reverse. Okay, those items which did not appear in the bank statement but appeared in the per books. Okay, so what are those items which appeared in per books but did not appear in our per bank statement? In our bank statement, we have the deposit in transit and outstanding checks. And in terms of adjusting entries, we will only prepare adjusting entries for book reconciling items, meaning those items which we added and deducted in our book balance to come up with our adjusted book balance. Okay? And then the other method is book to bank method, in which we adjust our book balance to come up with our bank balance. And what are the reconciling items? All items that we identified reconciling when we compared our per ledger and our per bank statement. It's just that you have to identify which of those items will be added and will be deducted. In the case of book to bank, we identify that outstanding checks and proceeds of customer note are added from our book balance, and deposit in transit and service charges were deducted from our book balance. Okay? So when you prepare bank to book method, if you already have the book to bank, you will just reverse the sign. So if the items in our book balance under the book to bank were added, in bank to book, it will be deducted. Okay? Just like our outstanding checks and proceeds of a customer note, these items were added under book to bank, but under bank to book, this outstanding check will be deducted. Okay. Another one is the deposit in transit service charges. These items were deducted under book to bank, but added under bank to book. Okay. So at this point, that ends our discussion for our bank reconciliation. Thank you and good luck to your preparation of bank reconciliation. Actually, this bank reconciliation is very easy. You will enjoy preparing this bank reconciliation, especially if you are already working. And you will find later that bank reconciliation is just a piece of cake. Okay. Okay, that would be all. Thank you and see you next time for our next video. By the way, I forgot we have an activity after this. So if you have time, you can answer our objective type Okay, let me share. Okay, just like what you did last time. So we have an activity objective type. All again in Kahoot, and you type your game pin here. And I suggest that you use your surname so I can easily track and determine who answered this true or false, especially to my students. Okay. And I would like to share with you my references. Okay. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay. So that would be all. Thank you very much.